So as we jump into Zechariah, let's give you a brief overview. Zechariah is a bit of a complex prophetic book. And our friends over at the Bible Project, we'll put a link down at the bottom, have done a really beautiful overview, an animated overview of the structure of the book of Zechariah and actually all the books of the Bible. So if you really love studying the scriptures, the resources in the Bible Project are really useful. And we're going to borrow their outline. They map out that the first part of chapter 1 in Zechariah is reminding the people, don't be like your ancient ancestors who turned away from the covenant. Be covenantally faithful to God. Build the temple and find that covenantal faithfulness expressed in your temple worship and how you love your neighbors, and you will see God's prosperity. And then Zechariah has a whole series of dreams, and these dreams are just full of all sorts of interesting imagery that sometimes can be a little bit confusing. And then he concludes the dreams in chapter 7 to 8, and then there's a number of chapters that deal with a variety of images about what God's kingdom will be like. Remember, the Jews have been in captivity for many decades. They're returning to the Holy Land. They're rebuilding their temple. And there's all sorts of messianic expectations or kingly expectations that God's kingdom is being built on earth. And they're all wondering, will God prosper our efforts? Will we have the peace and security and prosperity that we all desire? And will there be a king to lead us? And eventually, this is all obviously fulfilled by Jesus Christ. And ultimately, in the latter days, in the millennium, we will have Jesus ruling on earth in peace and prosperity. We've also mentioned in the past how the name is the lesson. So this prophet, his name is Zechariah. The ending of his name is Jehovah, and Zechar in Hebrew means to remember. So God remembers. What a beautiful name. These people who've been apparently cast off for decades, God remembers them and brings them back home to their Holy Land, remembers them, invites them to build the temple. And the promise is for all of us that God will remember you, and his kingdom is an invitation. You are invited in. He remembers to invite you in.